All right. I'm not going to act like they're doing this because I did anything. I don't want to try to perpetuate that idea, but I will say that all the characters, for the most part, that I've dropped, the name that I've dropped, or the names that I've dropped in that video that I've done for Marvel, it was like 3 to 5 characters, black characters that I thought Marvel should expand upon. They're all back, and they're being utilized, which is a good thing. That was the whole reason why I did that video, because instead of tokenizing characters, they already have original black characters that they can utilize. And what we have here, finally, the return of Synch. And Synch was one of the characters that I mentioned in that video. Now, they brought him up. I can't remember if it was House of Powers of X or even the beginning of like one of the, like, let's say the first issue of X-Men, the current run of X-Men. But they mentioned him because they felt that because of his power base, he's going to be a very useful mutant. He's one of the first mutants that were, let's say, revived by, they have 5 for those that have been keeping up with this. There's 5 mutants, and together they can basically make these eggs and, create mutants, recreate mutants. And between Professor X basically having copies of their minds and stuff like that, they can basically reincarnate mutants now at will. And Synch was, I remember them mentioning that he was one of the first ones that they brought back because of his power base, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But I believe this is the first time that we actually see him come back in issue number 5 of X-Men, and it has me really excited. Now, what happened out of this is that where the Children of the Vault, well, one of them are back, and I'm not going to go into too much detail as far as what happened with that, but just know Serafina, one of the Children of the Vault, and Children of the Vault, they're like, I said I wouldn't even go into detail. I can at least tell you who they are. They're not mutants per se, but they're kind of like mutants. They're just like these advanced forms of humans, because, in this vault, they're able to, the time is accelerated, right? So you can imagine like this sort of adaptation and how these beings have been able to grow and become more and more advanced in a period of time, like 6,000, 5,000 years or something like that. But we got an appearance of Synch. I'm glad, and I really hope they expand upon this character. I would love to see him further developed. Before, because he ended up getting killed off. And the thing that makes Synch unique, or the more so, is power base, right? So Synch is a character that can literally sync with other characters, other mutants. And it's not like Rogue per se, where Rogue can touch you and she can take your powers. It's not like that. It's more of a sense that he can sense mutants that are around him, and he's able to, he don't have to touch, as long as you're near, he's able to basically duplicate your powers. So imagine how powerful he is, depending on, granted, it's not like, there's still limitations, right? Because you need the mutant to be around for him to be useful. So if he's not around mutants, he's just a regular guy, right? So it's not like he's just overpowered, but he's very powerful, or can be, has a potential to be very powerful, or one of the most powerful mutants, because he can basically copy the other powerful mutants. So I love that about him, that uniqueness and that sort of power. Not necessarily, it's not unique to, let's say, how be able to take somebody else's powers, but just how they work. And they do operate within the confines. There are big time limitations as far as to how this character can utilize his powers. So excited that they're using this character. I encourage them. It seems like X-Men, or more so the books surrounding him, I think the best X-Men book or my favorite, is probably Marauders. A little Storm bias there. But X-Force is really good as well. But all of the good things that Marvel seems to be doing, not all of them, most of them, seem to be centered at the very least around the X-Men. In Dawn of X, post Powers and post House of X, where you have like 5, 6 books, Fallen Angels, X-Force, X-Men, New Mutants, Excalibur, Marauders, and so forth. Those books, they have a little different style. And I think and by different style, I mean each book is kind of a little different, like different taste, right? New Mutants is not like Fallen Angels, and Fallen Angels isn't like X Force. I would say X Force and Marauders are probably the closest to each other in terms of how graphic they are, but it's a good, but they were good. Some of them were good books, and I think a lot of the good things that are coming from Marvel right now, even though there's a lot of nonsense and garbage that is pumped out, a lot of the good things do come from X-Men. But because of that, and also I wanted to mention this, right? They have talked about, I know that that's a big worry, a guy like myself. I know other people have talked about this, is that it's kind of weird that they can basically, if a mutant dies, they can just recreate them. So it's like, what's the point? Obviously, that's not going to be something that's going to stand for just a long period of time. But we're learning, and through Synch, we're learning that there are limitations with the characters. Or more so, it's centered around the fact that the character can be emotionally distraught when they're brought back. Like Synch, for example, he's been gone for a long time. So you can imagine, like, you come back and things have changed, and so much has changed, and that's what Cecile Ray is. She documents in this book how, like, yeah, he's one of the first mutants that he brought back, but because considering how much time had passed, and how, you're looking at even the mutants that you came up with maybe when he was alive, they're different now. So that can have that, but all he remembers is what he last remembered. So you can imagine just popping up and being alive again, and then everything's changed around you, and how that can play on your psyche. So what Cecilia was saying in the book is that, well, she believes that people that have been gone for a very long time, some of the characters, that have been gone, the mutants, they should hold off on being so quick to revive them all or bring them back because of that. They say only in dire situations should they really assume, like the ones that have been gone for a very, very long time, because it's going to be hard for them to adapt. So that has been sort of injected into the X-Men. This is X-Men issue 5 again. That's been injected into this narrative. So it throws a wrench in this idea that, yeah, you can create the mutants again and just copy them, but there has to be some sort of limitation to that, or there has to be some pushback, or something backfires, and that's what's happened. So X-Men issue 5 is dealing with the Children of the Vault being back, or more so one Children of the Vault being back, and they're going into this vault and so forth to get Serafina, and I just love the fact that Synch reappears. So that's a very, very good thing to me, and I hope they expand upon the character, but we'll see, man. So X-Men issue 5, check it out.